Welcome to Today with Dr. Kaye. I'm Dr. Kaye Wise Whitehead. Folks, it is Friday, and it has been a long week. So for the next 2 hours, let's come together and have a conversation that matters. Let us wrap our week up together. In the second hour, is the era of Oscars so white over? Or will it not be truly over until we have half of the nominees who are people of color versus 4 to 5 people? We'll talk about that in the second hour. But for now, let's talk about Black women and who will stand for us. We're now at a moment due to #MeToo and Time's Out where it is about gender equality. When women are stepping forward and they're talking about how challenging and how difficult it is growing up as a girl in a man's world. Folks, I remember that every morning before I walked into school, I would tell myself that there was no freedom in silence, there was no courage in not speaking the words I needed to heal myself, and no liberation in choosing to bite my tongue when my words were also needed to change the world. I would force myself to speak up because, as Audri Lorde once said, my silence could not protect me. Now, it's been almost 30 years, and I am still reminding myself to speak up. The only difference is that today, women all over the country are speaking up with me. Silence is not an option, and though they may try and quiet us, as Senator Elizabeth Warren once demonstrated last year, we will persist. There's a movement for change that is happening in this country, and women are at the forefront of it. I'm telling you, it is an incredible time to be a woman and by extension to be a girl. It is also exhausting. It's hard work. And we're not always supported. See, when white women step forward, they are embraced. They are supported. They are encouraged. They are lifted up. But who rides or dies with Black women? Who is stepping up for us? And this is to make sure that we get our due. There was an article in BET Celebs that talked about the issue of gender pay disparity, that when Kate Sandler came out against E! For not paying their female co-host the same as their male co-host, she received an outpouring of support from the women of Hollywood, Deborah Messing, Eva Longoria, Sarah Jessica Parker. The following week, everywhere, women did the same thing for Michelle Williams. When it was discovered that Mark Wahlberg was paid $1.5 million in comparison to her $1,000 for the reshoots and All the Money in the World movie, they were there. They were supporting her. But we have to ask ourselves, where is the outrage and the support for Monique, for Tracy Ellis Ross, for Wanda Sykes? Where are the white women who stood up for Sandler, who stood up for Sadler, who stood up for Messing, who stood up for Parker? Where are they when Black women are standing up? Is it time for Black women to step up and speak out and support other Black women? Or is it a redundant question? Is it something that we're already doing? On Friday, a day before the Women's March 2018, actress and comedian Monique took to Instagram to call out Netflix for being offered a deal that was considerably lower than other comedians of her tier. She explicitly called the offer gender and color biased, and she asked her fans to boycott Netflix and chill. She's saying boycott that. We have a clip from Monique. Let's take a listen to it.
Hey, my loves. I am asking that you stand with me and boycott Netflix for gender bias and color bias. I was offered a $500,000 deal last week to do a comedy special. However, Amy Schumer was offered $11 million, Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle $20 million. Then Amy Schumer went back and renegotiated $2 more million because she said I shouldn't get what the men are getting, they're legends, however I should get more, and Netflix agreed. When we asked Netflix to explain the difference, why the money was so different, they said, well, we believe that's what Monique will bring. We said, well, what about my resume? They said, we don't go off of resumes. Then we asked them, what was it about Amy Schumer? And they said, well, she sold out Madison Square Garden twice, and she had a big movie over the summer. Is that not Amy Schumer's resume? And then Netflix said, by the way, we believe Monique is a legend too. Why shouldn't I get what the legends are getting? Please stand with me in this boycott of Netflix. I love us for real.
So Monique has come forward with her husband manager, asking folks to join her protest, to stand with her, and to boycott Netflix. Very few women are stepping up to embrace Monique, to support her, to ride with her. At this point, how do we bend our privilege and support one another? And we're not just talking about Black women supporting other Black women. Where are the white women who are going to bend their privilege and support Monique, if indeed you believe she needs supporting? Now, it was over the weekend that Planned Parenthood CEO Cecil Richards, who's actually stepping down, she had a message for white women, and she said white women needed to step up. This is her quote. All across the country, the Women's March inspired doctors and teachers and mothers to become activists and organizers and, yes, candidates for office. She said from Virginia to Alabama and to last week in Wisconsin, women have beaten the odds to elect our own to office. That's right. Women of color, transgender women, rural and urban women. These victories were led and made possible by women of color. She ended that quote by saying, so white women, listen up. We've got to do better. We've got to do better. It is not up to women of color to save this country from itself. That's on all of us. And she repeated, that's on all of us. At the same time, Black women have consistently been holding up this world. I mean, it was Zora Neale Hurston that said Black women are like the mules of this world. You know, our backs are like bridges that people walk across to get their own freedom. Who's riding for Black women? Who's stepping up for Black women? So what I want to do today is I want to open up the phone lines here. And I want to ask you to give me a call at 410-319-8888. I want to hear your response on this Monique situation. How do we ride for her if indeed you think she needs us to support her? Because $500,000 is on the table. And if you have any stories about Black women in your life who have stepped up for you, who have bent their privilege for you, who have sacrificed for you, we want to hear that too. We're going to end on something positive this week. We are lifting up Black women. Give us a call at 410-319-8888 because here on Today with Dr. Kaye, folks, the phone lines are always open. Now, what's interesting is that it is no secret that Monique has garnered a huge reputation in Hollywood. She has had public feuds with just about everybody. She has publicly feuded with Lee Daniels, Tyler Perry. She actually went toe-to-toe with Oprah, which is a surprise to me. During a stand-up show last May, Monique alleged that Lee Daniels told her that she had been blackballed for not playing the game. Now, I'm assuming that not playing the game is everything that was happening when she was supposed to be out, going on the circuit, trying to get publicity for Precious. She was choosing not to do this. And she has a reputation for being a little difficult. It's been reported that Monique asked to be paid to promote Precious during the awards season. Now, typically when actors are in this movie, part of the work you do is promoting the film because you want it to be nominated for awards. You want to push up sales. You do that because you want to keep the phone lines going where people are buzzing about your film. Monique wanted to be paid. Now, what was unusual about that is because it's not standard practice to pay for a small independent film to pay for the time of the actors to promote it. You're promoting it so it moves from being a small independent film to exploding. Like that is what you want to happen. You want a deal to happen like Birth of a Nation, that recent film, to go from small indie to blowing up. Get Out, small film, small budget, to making over $100 million. Now, there's a lot of drama here because with Monique's resume and with her awards, it's backing up this frustration that she's feeling. She was only offered $500,000 for a stand-up special. Now, I would argue, for those of you who like Monique, she's probably a very prominent Black female comedian. I'm not that person who finds her to be that amusing. But she's willing to give up $500,000. There's also talk that Monique is worth $12 million. So what's interesting is that the other comedian on the table was making Monique's entire worth in one show. If Monique is indeed a legend, shouldn't she demand more? And in demanding more, Why aren't there people supporting her? 410-319-8888. Who's riding for Black women? And do you have positive stories about Black women that you want to share as we lift up Black women on this Friday afternoon? We have Ernest on the phone. Ernest, thank you for calling, sir. How you doing?
Good, Dr. Kaye. I appreciate your show. Listen.
Thank you.
So you're right. It's not Black women's responsibility to save this country.
Not at all.
It is not. Having said that, when white women are in distress, other white women and other white folk act on what is called code. And code means race first.
Right.
All the other stuff second. Now, when we are in distress, be it male or female, but particularly Black women, then the situation gets nuanced.
Right.
And
okay.
Wrongly, in most cases, wrongfully so. But in Monique's situation, this is nuanced because, like you say, Monique does have a reputation. Monique is from Baltimore. Monique has been known to be difficult.
Yes, she
and
has.
I think Monique has a very good argument because I do think Netflix disrespected her with that offer. However, I think she the narrative that she's using to communicate that is faulty.
Okay.
The shame is, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. This is just the way I see it.
Right.
White folks know how to act on code, and for Black folks, everything always has to be nuanced because in our case, one of us has been known to represent all of us.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I know that they let through, and I just want to kind of, tease this out a little bit. We know that there's only so many Black folks who are able to get the spotlight when it comes to Hollywood. They push through a few at a time, and they believe that's enough.
And we're put under more scrutiny.
Yes.
So, I mean, I feel for Monique, but again, I think if that narrative was packaged differently, she'd have garnered more support. But thank you, and again, I appreciate your show.
Thank you so much, Ernest. So why isn't there more support for Monique? Now, folks, I think we're getting into kind of another area here because I know that when people hear $500,000, I mean, that is a lot of money. But in this world where Monique is moving, where she's shaking, that this is not a lot of money. Monique, when she was interviewed on Sway in the Morning, she said, years ago, Eartha Kitt was calling for equality, and they labeled her a communist, and they snatched her livelihood. Please tell me the Black actresses that stood behind her. Is it because, as Black actors, comedians, if you're one of the few and you've been queened or knighted to be the voice, and you're making $500,000, $5 million, $10 million, $12 million, you don't want to give up your bank in order to fall with someone else. I don't understand that. How do we not support what she's doing? Now, it's interesting because there's an argument that Black actresses, in particular in Hollywood, are really stuck between a rock and a hard place where they can't come forward, they can't speak out. They have to pick and choose who they want to support. One person that did step up for Monique, which I thought was interesting, was Wanda Sykes. And Wanda Sykes did not come out blazing on the trail to support Monique. She was just tweeting out that the same thing happened to her. She said Netflix offered her $250,000 to do a stand-up. That's half of what they offered Monique. But what Wanda Sykes did, she said, I went to another home. I went to EPIX with Monique with this notion of gender bias and color bias. She's saying they offered her less money than Amy Schumer. That's at $11 million. And Amy Schumer went back and renegotiated for another $2 million. Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle were both offered $20 million to do their own specials. They're calling them legends. They're saying Monique's a legend too, but only $500,000. In our world, folks, for those of us who are not making this kind of money, it's the difference between being offered $80 to do a show and the person beside you with the same kind of background, same kind of talent, same kind of resume is making $800. As Black women, we deal with it all the time. We know what it's like to silence our voices over and over again. 410-319-8888. Who's riding for Black women? Give me a call. Let's talk about it and share some positive stories about Black women. It's Friday. We have Michael on the line. Michael, welcome to the show.
Hello, how are you?
How are you, sir?
fine. I just want to make sure that was me on. I know because you know how it is on the phone.
Oh, I know.
I'm a beginning listener. I'm backwards and forwards. I'm liking what I'm hearing.
Thank you.
I'm a Morgan grad.
Thank you.
Of course, I'm excited.
Wait a minute, are you a first-time caller to my show?
To your show, but I'm a former student announcer back 40 years ago.
Well, I always ring the bell and say, welcome to, you're new to me, so welcome to the family, my little family.
Well, then you're new to me, welcome to you to the family as well. Let me say this, and I know you have people on the hold. Let me say this. I feel her pain, but I don't necessarily agree in the approach.
Okay.
I think that it's also about a body of work.
Okay.
And I think that you have to be able to recognize a person's body of work and say simply what a person, not is necessarily worth, because it sounds like chattel too much when we say what a person is worth. Mm-hmm. But what are you capable of doing? And I know that we can use race as a measuring stick, but there's a reason that Chappelle, and there's a reason that Chris Rock, and there's a reason that Kevin Hart makes the types of money that they make. And that is because not only at the level of their bodies of work, it's also, it's because of their bodies of work and what can they bring to the table. I know that, that's cool that you work $15 million. But to me, I would have taken $500,000, blown the place apart, so that the legend would have been created at that point, right then and there. I know Monique casually. I used to come to her club when she had in Baltimore. She's a Milford Mill High School graduate, and she's got some acting chops to her, and of course the Academy Award that didn't go pretty much the right way after her. But I think that I would take that kind of money, even though regardless of what I got in the background, and say, yeah, you got me for $500,000, but the next time you get me, if I don't go to another portal, the next time you get me, it's going to cost you $100 million because I'm going to blow this show out.
But isn't that how you do it though? When you get in the door, you make every single opportunity count, Michael. Because I haven't seen Monique in a while. I mean, why wouldn't she take this advantage and get back in front of our eyes here?
And there has been conversation, and it's not about difficult. Come on, all actors, comedians, and everybody, all of them difficult.
Right.
It's not about being no more difficult than anyone else. And I'm sorry, I don't buy into that black women are more difficult than black men.
No. Let's not even go down that road.
Yeah, I'm around more black men than black women, and trust me, black men are real difficult too.
Well, let me ask you a question, Michael, before you go. I do want to can you tell me at least one positive story, something positive about black women? Because I want to end on a high and positive note, lifting up black women this week.
Absolutely. I looked at a program that Chris Rock's now ex-wife is doing, and had an opportunity to see them in action, where this black woman is going around all of her celebrity and rich connections and friends and stuff. And what she's doing is she's getting their clothes that either discarded or personal wear, and then she's training black women who are entering the job force, how to be prepared for an interview,
there you go,
how to maintain the job, and putting that. And the clothes.
I think we lost Michael. Michael, thank you so much for calling, folks. Oh, there you are.
Nine of us are college graduates, and 5 of us are graduate of Morgan State University. So that's positive enough for me.
I think that's positive. Thank you so much, Michael, for checking in. We're lifting up black women today. We're talking about who's riding with Monique, but I think even more important, who is it that lifts up black women who have historically been the ones to hold up this country? I mean, I would argue hold up this planet. People might not agree with that, but black women are at the center and the source. Who's lifting us up? We're doing that today on Today with Dr. Kaye. So when you call in to talk about Monique, give me something positive about black women, too, before you hang up. Hey, Leo, welcome back to the show.
Yes, good afternoon, Dr. Kaye. How are you?
I'm doing well, sir. It's been a long week.
I love Monique. I like her combative style. And a whole lot of people don't like that. I mean, didn't she talk about boycotting Netflix?
Yeah, that's what she told. She wants us to boycott Netflix now.
Well, we need to boycott a lot of things, given what we're faced in terms of institutional racism in this country. And her leadership style is such that people resent and are jealous sometimes of that kind of combative style.
and other people are cowardly. I'm not going to characterize everyone as
right,
but they're kind of a little resentful that she would have the guts, the moxie to stand up to the established order in that way.
And turn down the money. Like, let's be remembered. That's when she turned the money down.
She's saying, I know I'm an Academy Award winner,
yes,
and I'm worth more than that. She's not only comedic, but she's a heck of a character actress.
Yes, she is.
I would say, if you remember, if I can draw a parallel, remember when Donna Edwards ran for the United
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, she was running for the United States Congress seat that Chris Van Hollen has now.
Yes, I remember that.
And Donna Edwards, nothing was wrong with Donna Edwards. She was already vetted as a woman of great distinction as a legislator, and yet a lot of her black colleagues in the Legislative Black Caucus in Maryland and other places, 100 black women, allowed themselves to be manipulated by the white power structure, and they went against Donna Edwards.
And did not stand with her.
They didn't stand with her. And so we have a lot to overcome.
Yes, we do.
On a mountain to climb when it comes to personality conflicts and skin color conflicts.
And gender-based conflicts here.
Yeah, and all this stuff about, well, I don't like your method, so I won't. Well, I don't have to agree with your tactics, but if you're fundamentally right in terms of what you're advocating, then I'm going to have to forget about the personality and say, black woman, black man, right on, I'm going to stand with you and come hell or high water. Now,
tell me something, Leo, before you go. We want one positive comment. Say something to lift up black women here. Somebody in your life. Give me one thing before I go to break.
Dr. Oh, shucks. She was a professor at Morgan State University, Morgan State College back then. And she was a sociology professor. And I wish I could remember her name. She was the lady who debated George Wallace.
Oh, wow. Okay.
On television. You
can
look that up.
We will look it up. And we're going
Dr. Irene Diggs.
There we go. We're going to lift up Dr. Irene Diggs.
Black professor at Morgan College.
Thank you so much, Leo.
God bless.
Folks, we are lifting up black women today. We're talking about who rides for them. Nadir is checking in from Facebook Live. She says other black women ride for black women. We know our struggles. We stand with one another. Give me a call, 410-319-8888. Let's lift up black women. Monica, Keith, Reverend Golden, I'll get to you after the break. Folks, keep it here. Folks, welcome back to The Day with Dr. Kaye. I'm Dr. Kaye Whitehead. Things are heating up even here at the station. We are talking about Monique. Monique was offered a deal from Netflix to do a stand-up show. She was offered $500,000. Girlfriend said no to that check because a white woman, Amy Schumer, got $11 million and then went back and renegotiated for another $2 million. So girlfriend walked away with $13 million. Chris Rock got $20 million. Dave Chappelle got $20 million. And Monique saying, look, I'm a star too. I deserve more than the $500,000. She's saying no way. But there are not many black women and no white women at all riding for her. Wanda Sykes has come up. Jada Pinkett Smith has said something. Where is the outrage and where is the support at this moment when we are demanding our pay? Think about it. Wasn't it Auntie Maxine Waters who talked about reclaiming my time? Folks, go look at the afro. My op is there where I'm saying reclaiming my time and my money. It's time to pay black women their due. Who's riding for us? So today, I want us to think about that. And I want you to call in with your stories to uplift black women. We're riding for black women today. I have Monica on the line. Monica, welcome to the show.
Thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. I just have a question. Actually, I really don't have a question because there's no way to get this answer. But I am very curious to know how many of these black men and black women are fans of Amy Schumer and have actually watched the latest Amy Schumer special. The fact that no one or very few are outraged at the fact that this white woman, and I have no problem. I'm not prejudiced. Actually, I am prejudiced in the least. Black people first. That's how I look at things. Black people first. It's about daggone time. However, Amy can go in and renegotiate a contract for a special she already performed and aired and get $2 more million. They couldn't even come at Monique with at least $2 million.
Nope.
Not even $2 million. So where is the outrage? And people talking about her delivery and how she's doing it, and we ain't boycotting Netflix and all this other stuff. No. She is talking about gender, racial, wage equality.
Yes.
And the fact that you all can't see that makes me question every black person on my timeline, on social media, on this radio station. I'm calling out the first guy that I heard. I don't know if he was the actual first caller. The first guy I heard 2 callers ago.
We're calling them all out. We're calling them all out.
Them all out. So if you're not a fan of Amy Schumer, please sit down. If you didn't watch that special, please sit down. You need to get on board and support Monique. If you're not going to boycott Netflix, which I personally am not.
Please, I'm watching Netflix tonight.
Yeah, exactly. The documentaries are off the chain on Netflix. But anyway, we need to stand up and say it's about time someone has called her out. And now I'm looking at the other stars who have not spoken up on this.
No, nobody.
And I'm calling out the white women, too.
Yeah.
Y'all got to come on out. If we're supposed to be the sisterhood, you want black women to wear that pink hat.
Come on now.
Come out and help us get this green dollar bill in our wallet. No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Well, let me ask you this before you go, Monica. Can you give me something positive about black women? Because we're going to lift up sisters this weekend here.
Yeah, let me tell you. My grandmother, she is deceased now, but my grandmother was a positive role model in my life because she was a social injustice warrior.
Wow.
She worked for the Department of Social Services. She worked with women who were on Section 8 and welfare and transitioned many of her clients out of the system.
I love that.
She showed them how to, and I'm just going to put this out there. Y'all don't know me. She showed them how to play the system to get ahead. And most of her clients, she had a very good track record from getting them off of Section 8 and welfare to leading much better, productive lives.
Thank you so much, Monica. We are lifting up black women. This idea is that we want to know what's going on. Now, I did check in with my producer. She said, no way, Monique shouldn't get anything from Netflix. And Dr. Dre, who's running the board in there, said he'd give her a couple of mil, but not 20 mil. What the real issue is what Monica just said, gender and racial pay equity. Black women are already paid 67 cents on a dollar. It takes us a year and a half of working to make what a white male at the same level, same qualifications, same skills makes in 1 year. We don't even hit Black Women's Equality Day until July 31st. That's when we finally make a dollar on a dollar. Folks, this is bigger than Monique. It's about gender pay equity. We have Kenneth on the line. Kenneth, welcome to the show.
Yes, can you hear me?
I can. How you doing, sir?
Hey there. I mean, she better take that money. Ain't she got some bills to pay?
But do you think she should take the money? You're talking $500,000 when she is worth more. Do you take less money, though?
Well, and you were talking about women encouraging each other. I remember when Eartha Kitt was going through that, and there was Dorothy Dandridge.
Yes.
They were sisters.
Please, like, Josephine Baker.
Those sisters, what's the other lady's name? Lena Horne.
Yes, who stood together in those times.
Yeah, I mean, I know times have changed, but it's still the fact that they stayed together and took what they could get.
Yeah.
But you know what? And let me say this. What she should do, I think she should do, she should take that money right now, and then if that show that she wants to do, that they want her to do, becomes a hit, and go back to them, or they'll come back to her and say, would you do another one for us? Give me the money that,
So use it as leverage, right? Is what you're saying.
Play the game.
Okay, play the game.
There's two sides to the game,
Now, let me have you say something very quickly before you go, Kim. Can you say something? We're lifting up black women today.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, it's a lot I could say about black women. You got me that time.
Oh, you know what, Kenneth? I'm going to have you call back on Monday. I'm cutting Kenneth off. Folks, if you can't come up with something immediately to lift up black women, I need to understand why you're calling today with Dr. Kaye. You can just say, I'm a good person. You got to lift up black women, and you got to ride with me here, because if we don't ride for each other, and if we don't ride with each other, then making this kind of money, and I'm talking about 67 cents on the dollar, it will continue. Who's standing up for black women and bending their privilege and saying no more? I have Reverend Golden on the line. Reverend Golden, welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Kaye. I want to start with part two, really. I want to lift up 4 names real quickly.
Okay.
The first name is Ursula Burns, who is the former executive CEO of Xerox.
Yes.
Can't get much bigger than that. Ursula Burns. Number 2, I want to lift up Kamala Harris, who is now a United States Senator from California, but she's a former Attorney General of the great state of California. Thirdly, I want to lift up the great Joy Reid on MSNBC.
Yes.
She is a powerhouse. And lastly, I want to lift up my mother, Rosa Porter, the fiercest woman I know.
There you go.
One of the greatest women that transformed my life and transformed much of this city, the Head Start program back in 1967.
Thank you so much, Reverend Golden.
Thank you, and continue power to all the women. And of course, we stand with Monique. We should stand and shame. I say shame Netflix. Whatever they do, I stand with her to say no. I will not do your show for $500,000. And we should shame them. We should write. We should tweet. We should Facebook. We should do whatever we need to do to shame Netflix, whether they give her a new contract or not. To shame them, but they're thinking that they could pay her a paltry amount such as that, and then have a multi-million-dollar hit.
Thank you so much, sir. Reverend Golden, lifting up black women, because I want to hear that too, and then telling me where you stand on this Monique issue. I have Jennifer on the line. Jennifer, welcome to the show. Jennifer, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, and you are a new caller, right, Jennifer?
Yes, I am.
So I'm going to ring my bell. I'm going to say, welcome to the family.
Thank you. Okay, well, I'm regarding Monique, that old saying, if you don't stand for something, you stand for nothing.
Oh, yeah, that's Dr. King.
So you know what, good for her. You know, and if she does not need us to stand beside her, because she's standing on her own, and us standing beside her is a plus.
Right.
So I say, go for it, girl. Don't worry about nothing. If you think you're worth something, go for it.
There you go.
Because one thing that we do, we don't claim our worth. We do that historically. Right. Even the working person, we will take that $10, $15 an hour when we're doing $50 an hour work.
There you go. Can you get a black woman you want to lift up, Jennifer, before I chime off? Yes.
Yes, I want to lift up all of those black women who don't have famous names, that raise their children, educate their children. Work for money that they really should be paid more, like my mother getting on the bus and the subway every day.
Yes.
She fed her 5 children, and all 5 of us are college-educated doctors and have master's degrees. So
thank you so much. Yes, I like that.
Okay, well, that's what moves me every day, to go to work and put up with it and come home and take care of my kids.
Thank you, Jennifer, for calling in. Thanks for joining the family. Folks, we're talking about Monique, but we're talking about a bigger situation here. We're not going to let this day pass without lifting up black women as well. That's how we're ending our week. We're lifting up the sisters, standing with them and standing for them. I have Charmaine on the line. Charmaine, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Yeah, and you're a new caller, correct?
Yes.
Welcome to the family, Charmaine.
Thank you.
So what do you think with this Monique situation?
I agree that we need to support black women, but I just don't agree with Monique.
Okay. Why not?
Because I don't feel as though, Netflix is a business. They're trying to get a return on their product. People keep bringing up her Oscar, but that was for a non-comedic role.
Right.
Amy Schumer stars as the lead in comedic roles. And they need the proof of how many people you can pull in.
Yeah.
And they also take into account your social media presence. Amy Schumer, Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, they have millions of fans on social media. But if you look at Monique, she probably got like 20, 30,000 people. That's, when they look at that, say like, okay, how many people realistically is she going to pull in to watch this show?
So this idea that we need more proof of performance from Monique is what you're saying.
Yes, because the last comedic movie I saw her in, what was it, This Christmas?
Yeah. Oh, I remember that. Yes.
Yeah, and she just had a small role as the aunt. It wasn't a lead role.
Now, I want to say that Monique has on Twitter 152,000 followers on Twitter. Now, while you're talking and lifting up black women, I'm going to check for Chris Rock because you made a very good point. How big is her social media presence where she's demanding this kind of money? If she has 152,000, Chris Rock, I'm looking at him very quickly. Yeah, he has 5.34 million followers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you have somebody who has millions of followers, you're guaranteed to have millions of people watch their shows.
Yeah, he has a show coming up in London. It's already sold out. It's tonight. Okay, so I get with you. Now, before you go, though, do you want to lift up a black woman today?
Yeah, my mom. I'm sitting in the car with her right now.
All right. Hello,
and
Mom.
I want to lift up all the single women that's holding it down.
All right. Thank you so much, Charmaine. Thank you for joining the family. Folks, we're talking about Monique, but we're talking about a bigger issue here, gender and racial equity when it comes to pay. We have Theodore on the line. Theodore, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hello, Theodore. How are you?
Hey, my Hebrew Israelite sister, how are you?
I'm doing fine. How you doing? So what do you think of this? I'm surprised you're calling in on this one, Theodore. What do you think?
I'm on the highway, so I'm going to try to get in my words as quick as possible.
Okay.
That I can get off the phone. I am very proud of Monique, and we need a lot of black women like her. And for those of you who don't know that J. Edgar Hoover is black, he came from a black family, and you can Google it on YouTube.
Right.
Even though he do all these things towards Martin Luther King, he was a black man.
Right.
And you have a blessed day.
You have a blessed day. Thank you so much, Theodore. We're going to keep it moving here, folks. We have Veronica on the line. Veronica, welcome to the show.
Thank you so kindly. Hey, listen, I wanted to lift up my sisters.
Yes.
I graduated from Wilberforce University, and I wanted to lift up my sisters from Black Women United.
Nice.
Our theme was primarily, when I see my sister, I see myself. And every time I see myself, I see the love of God.
Amen.
Hey. So this whole big thing with Monique, I get it. She feels that she deserves more, and I stand with her. But also, I'm looking at her record. She hasn't been, the greatest. She hadn't been on top of her game, and I get it. There has been some setbacks for her when it came to. What is it? The show that Taraji P. Henson is doing on Fox.
Right, Empire and the movie. Right.
There has been a whole lot of not conspiratorial talk, but there's been a lot of negative talk, on behalf of Monique, and so I would suggest that Monique go back to the drawing board, work on her game, work on her publicity, and get all of us back, because there are some of us who don't believe in Monique anymore.
Thank you so much. So maybe she needs to go back to the drawing board, pull it back together. I have Susu on the phone. Susu, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you?
And I'm told you're a new caller?
Yes, I am.
So welcome to the family.
I love your show.
Thank you so much. So Monique, and I want you to lift up a black woman too.
Okay, so I'm praying for Monique. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd like to lift up my mom, who marched in protest and was beaten with Dr. King.
Wow.
Yeah, and so in a small town in Virginia, Danville, Virginia, and so once it was all over, when she was released from jail and the whole bit, she was blacklisted. There were not a whole lot of jobs back then.
Okay.
So she really she was blacklisted from the tobacco factory job that she did have seasonal. So she had to leave there, and we moved here to Baltimore. She raised 2 children. She never called herself a single parent. She raised 2 to go away to college. I don't know how she managed to do that on one income.
Right.
My brother entered Morgan State. He was involved in the co-op department, and someone saw something in him and had him transferred up to MIT.
Okay.
Okay, so he is the first African-American to get 3 degrees from MIT and mechanical engineering.
Wow. So I'm lifting up your mom today, too. I'm lifting her up.
Yeah, she was
That's
serious.
her work. Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Susu. Thank you. Folks, we're talking about Monique, but we're also lifting up Black women. We're going to end this week off strong, riding for the sisters. Ingrid's checking in on Facebook Live. She's lifting up Raquel, her mom, and she's lifting Emily Moore up in prayer. I have Nicole on the line. Nicole, welcome to the show.
Hey,
Nicole. And you're a new caller. How you doing, sister?
I am, but I'm always listening.
Thank you. And I'm glad because Nicole was actually watching on Facebook Live making comments. And I said, come on and call in, Nicole. So so what do you think? I want you to lift up Black women, but also give me your opinion on this Monique situation.
I'm going to support Monique. You know, I'm in a situation right now where, you know, I had to be, you know, the one Black woman to speak out about some really uncomfortable things.
Okay.
And so I feel her pain. I feel that she probably had some immense pressure, but she felt the need that she had to be that voice to speak out.
Right.
And I know that folks probably support her as they support me, but, you know, can't publicly, you know, speak up or have some things to risk. So, you know, I'm going to stand with Monique. I agree that women are overworked and underpaid.
Right.
And it is time for us to be respected and valued and appreciated.
And paid. It's time for us to get paid what our value is. They are determining our wealth by undervaluing us. But we still do the stellar job, right, Nicole?
Yeah,
we still put it out there.
We've been down. I went to visit probation and parole because I do a lot of reentry advocacy. And I went to talk with some probation agents. And when they all came in the room, it was all Black women who were lifting up these agencies. So in terms of who I want to lift up today, I think one who is standing up for Black women are Black women, like Nadira said. She's one of those Black women who stand up for me. I want to lift up my mother who birthed me and who has always supported me. I want to lift up my best friend, Karen York, who is standing with me during this very tough time, and is the first African-American Black woman who's a new executive director. So I want to lift her up. And I just want to lift up all the Black women in this city who are holding nonprofits down, holding agencies down, and holding their families down.
Right. And we can say Mayor Catherine Pugh holding the city down. I mean, you know, I'm thinking about her. I'm thinking about Jill P. Carter. I'm thinking about Dr. Sonia Santelises. I'm thinking about Marilyn Mosby. Politics aside, these are Black women who are still paving the way and still moving us forward.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Nicole. Folks, we want to hear from you. We're talking about, of course, what's happening with Monique, but we're getting into a bigger issue here around gender and racial equity when it comes to payment, and we're lifting up Black women. We need to do that every once in a while. Lift up the sisters. I have Kate on the line. Kate, welcome to the show.
Hi.
How are you? And you're a new caller, right, Kate? Yes. Welcome to the family, Kate.
Thank you. I just wanted to call and weigh in. I am a white ally feminist, and I just wanted to lift up all the women out there who are Black feminists that feel like they've been excluded for whatever reason. I know it's a really, really common problem, and I just want to encourage them. Us white feminists out there, we want to talk about these issues with you. Help enlighten us. Tell us about your experience so we can understand.
Right.
And as far as Monique goes, I think Monique definitely deserves more money. $500,000 is a ridiculous offer when you consider the offers of men and white women. Monique's a Black comedic legend. She deserves way more than that, even if she hasn't been as present lately in the industry as she has been before.
And the idea that they think that's okay. I just applaud Monique for saying not taking this in the dark. She took it right out, put it on the table so everybody can look at it. Whether or not you agree, she's not being silent, right?
Exactly. And I'm proud of her for speaking out.
All right. Thank you so much, Kate. Thanks for joining the family. Folks, we're talking about Monique, and we're lifting up Black women. I have Charles on the line. Charles, welcome to the show.
Yes, how you doing?
How you doing?
Yes, we're seeing the small-minded people and the haters come out.
They always come out, don't they, Charles?
Oh, yes, because this is contract negotiation.
Yeah.
Now, if this was any single person listening right now and you had to negotiate your contract for your job,
here we
and
go.
all these people were putting all this hot sauce into your mix,
oh, yeah.
how would it make you feel?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to look at it. We got a lot of athletes that go through the same thing, and they have contract negotiations for millions and millions of dollars.
Right.
And the peanut gallery, they do all this here and hard, but as soon as they get accepted and they get it, then everybody starts cheering.
Well, now let me ask you this. Hold on one second, Charles, because I'm wondering, in this case of Monique, it's not just that Monique is doing contract negotiations. Girlfriend is asking us to join with her and to boycott Netflix. So she's not just telling us, she's asking us to be actively involved. Isn't that a bit of a difference than just us kind of chiming in on this? She wants us to be involved.
Because she's a smart woman.
Mm-hmm.
See, you know what that's called that she's trying to do?
What's that called?
It's called leverage.
There you go.
It's not just a TV show. You can do it too.
So the idea is that Netflix, you don't think I have an audience, but I have an audience. Before you go, Charles, you want to lift up a black woman right quick?
Oh, all black women.
All right.
All black women.
All right. Thank you so much, Charles. Folks, we're going to keep going through here. We have Clarence on the phone. Clarence, welcome to the show.
Much, Dr. Kaye. Some of this is going to sound like I'm clowning, but I'm really not, Dr. Kaye.
Okay.
Honestly.
I've heard this from you before, Clarence.
We always try to justify the right and the wrong of it by, that's business or that's politics, because we can't deal with the root cause of what's going on. And now I'm going to pull something out of my head, and then I'm going to make reference to it to something that happened currently in Baltimore City.
Okay.
And some folks aren't going to like this, but I'm pulling this out of my head. I can't remember the exact quote, but I'm going to come close enough. We do not allow our women to speak or to teach, for nowhere when the master sent out the 12 did he send a woman. And the head should always lead, meaning so that women are behind the men.
Okay.
Now, that's historic. That comes from religion. Okay?
Yeah, it does. I heard that. That's part of that is from the Bible.
That's relevant here today. Now look at Baltimore City. Who is doing the most work in Baltimore City, cleaning the hotels, doing the cooking, and all of the other women out there,
teaching,
cutting grass.
Everything.
You won't give them $15 an hour.
There you go.
It's the same thing. And you know what? I don't want to piss anybody off, but this is a woman that did this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you so much, Clarence. As always, folks, we want to hear from you. I have Keith on the line. Keith, welcome to the show. And I'm thinking, Keith, we're going to have to hold you after the break. We want to take a quick break here. And when we come back, folks, we're going to continue with our conversation. Keith, hold on. Nicole, hold on. We will get to you. We're talking about the Monique situation, but we're also lifting up black women. We got to lift them up. We got to ride for them, folks. This is Today with Dr. Kaye. I'm Dr. Kaye Whitehead. I'm lifting up my mother and my grandmother today. Keep it here for a quick update from the MTA and then stay with us.
Good afternoon. We do have on the mark trains. Penn Train 426 with a 5 to 10 minute delay. Otherwise, we're on schedule on the Camden and Brunswick lines of MARC. Light Rail Link is on schedule. Metro Link also on time. On the local link buses, the Purple Line westbound, Green Line southbound, diverting at Baltimore and Carrollton. Green Line, Purple Line eastbound, diverting at Baltimore and Calhoun for construction. For the MTA Transit Team, I'm Kirk Kroenke on 88.9 FM, WEAA, the voice of the community.
Welcome to Today with Dr. Kaye. I'm Dr. Kaye Whitehead. We are talking about Monique She was offered $500,000 by Netflix to do a stand-up show. Monique turned them down because Amy Schumer was able to negotiate a stand-up show. She got $13 million. Chris Rock got $20 million. Dave Chappelle got $20 million. So Monique said no. Now, folks, I need to clean something up because in the last hour, I was jokingly talking about, this weekend I was going to do Netflix and chill. My producer has informed me to be very clear that I mean that literally. I'm actually going to watch Netflix and relax because now I'm finding that means a lot of different things, people. Why don't you give us a call? 410-319-8888. What's your take on Monique? And why don't you come on and lift up a black woman? We are doing that today. We have Nicole on the line. Nicole, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dr. Kaye. How are you today?
I'm doing well. I'm glad it's Friday.
I know, right? I've been listening to the show, and first I want to say I love Mr. Leo, and I mean his comments are always on point. When he mentioned Donna Edwards, it made me think about the election and how I knew that she had won the election.
I thought so too.
But what I want to say about Monique is, I hear people saying, well, she hasn't done anything, and I think people have to keep in mind that she has essentially been blacklisted almost. I mean, so it's not like, she's probably had a lot. So I'm thinking that's why they're saying, well, she should have accepted the $500,000. But part of working hard and establishing a resume is knowing your worth. It's, knowing your value, knowing what you can bring.
Right.
And so she, like we said, we haven't seen her in a lot, but, she knows that she can bring it, and I think that she was right to ask for, what she was worth. Right. I don't think that she should have accepted the $500,000 because it wasn't a fair offer.
Right. And sometimes it's not worth the work.
I'd like to lift up all of my black teachers who go out every day,
nice.
And, they, too, are underpaid, and yet they go out, they spend their own money on the kids,
right.
They do what they can for them, and I don't have children, but I love teachers, and so, I'd like to lift up the black teachers.
Thank you so much, Nicole. Folks, we are lifting up black women, but we're also talking about this Monique situation. Monique was saying $500,000 is not enough. It's enough in my book, right? But I'm playing small here. In Monique's book, she says she knows her worth. It's getting into a bigger question around racial and gender pay equity. We have Keith on the line. Keith, welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, and I'm told that you're a new caller.
I'm not new to your show.
You're a new caller to my show, right? Because to my show, I got to ring the bell and say, welcome to my family.
Well, you give me $400,000, I might call every day.
So what do you think, Keith? Should she hold out? I mean, has Monique lost her mind? What do you think?
No, I don't think she lost her mind because, for one, she's a black woman, and black women don't lose their mind. If the talent she has, she got to have some kind of mind. She got an Oscar.
Yeah, she
got
does.
A nice following. My thing is, I just hope she negotiated, before she went and opened her mouth about the situation, because she could have got a little bit more money. So I'm not sure if she did or not. I tried to watch a few things she was talking about. I'm not sure.
She's calling for a boycott now.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, they shouldn't have offered her that because she have a point. Even though she didn't bring anything recently too much, but she still was worth way more than that.
Yeah, definitely more than $500,000.
Got at least between $2.5 or $5 million.
And I think if they had started there, we probably wouldn't be in this situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. They probably threw that number out just to see what she going to. See if she's going to take it, because there's a lot of people that would have took it.
And Sister Girl has gone very public with it.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, of course, they hate to see sisters that have the mind and the mouth, so they think you're just supposed to sit there and just take it. And no. And she's a strong black woman, so she felt as though she need to, get more money, and I don't blame her.
Now, is there a black woman you want to lift up before you go? Yes, come on now.
Man. Well, my mother, I texted my mother before I called in. I told her to tune in, so she's tuning in right now. So, as my mother, Marie Dorsey, very inspirational woman.
All right.
And I'm raising 2 girls of my own, so, I have a oldest daughter that's in college. She's doing real well. And it's all about, teaching these, I'm not a woman, I'm a male, but it's all about uplifting these young women out here. There's a lot of young women out here that's lost. So it's all about the older sisters is trying to bring up these young women to lead and be respectful of themselves, and let us kings take care of them, but also make sure we respect them also.
And maybe we jointly take care of each other, right?
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Keith. Thanks for checking in and for joining the family. Folks, we're talking about Monique, and we are lifting up black women. We have Gary on the line. Gary, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Kaye. Appreciate you taking my call.
Absolutely.
Well, as far as, first of all, let me say this. I support Monique, but I also support anything black and anything positive.
There you go.
But like one of your previous callers said, I mean, I don't pretend to know what was going through those folks' head at Netflix or Hollywood, but I do know it is a business. And in business is always about return on investment. And maybe Netflix didn't think that they were going to get a return on their investment. When you look at Dave Chappelle crosses the line. He's got millions of followers.
Yes, he does.
White folks were down with Dave Chappelle before we were, if you look at his early work.
I mean, look at Chris Rock. I just pulled it up that, Monique has 152,000 followers. Chris Rock has 5 million. And Dave Chappelle, I'm checking right now, has 20 million followers on Twitter. I did not know that Dave Chappelle had more followers on Twitter than Chris Rock. So these two together, their followers in the millions.
Schumer, right now, she's just hot.
Right.
Movies are hot. She crosses line barriers. So that's why they pay these people. So if I was Monique, like the other individual that called prior said, I'm not going to say I don't know what's going through her head, but I would have taken the money, blew it out the water, and when you come back to me, you're going to have to pay me.
Now, I do want to note, because at that point you're making, what Monique was saying, they offer her $500,000. Monique has 152,000 followers. We're just talking about Twitter, right?
Right.
Amy Schumer got 13 million. She has 4.7 million followers. Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle both got 20 million. Both of them have more than 5 million followers.
And it all equates to dollars. That all equates to dollars. And I don't know if it's black or white, but I do know at the end of the day, it's all about green. If you can't pay these people, if they can't make their money on advertising or however they make money, they're not going to pay you.
There you go. Thank you so much, sir, for checking in. Folks, we're going to make our way through. We have John on the line. John, welcome to the show.
Of economics, you are worth what someone is willing to pay you.
There you go.
And these Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle, those people, they have that broad crossover appeal.
Right, that's
and
a good point.
Has a narrow following. Many blacks are not too keen on Monique and some of the roles that she's played. Now, if she were Rihanna, Beyonce, they're not underpaid.
No, they're not at all.
I mean, they are well compensated. They have broad appeal, and they can return, as some of the other callers, a high return on investment. So my concern is not about Monique, because she got what her agent was able to negotiate for her, and that's as high as the company was wanted to go for her. So I'm more concerned about these women out here, your low income women. And women out there in these corporations and trying to work up and break that glass ceiling.
Right. So let me ask you: is there a black woman? Is there a black woman you want to lift up before you go? Is there a black woman you want to lift up today?
Yeah, I want to lift up the black women, these black female women leadership in Baltimore, and also the black women of Alabama.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much. Folks, I think it's interesting that a caller touched on something about this notion of looking at the Twitter followers. Because when I went, someone just mentioned Beyonce and Rihanna. Well, Beyonce has 15 million followers. She has less followers than Dave Chappelle. That is actually shocking to me. Jay-Z has less followers than Amy Schumer. So if we're just using that, followers on Twitter does not necessarily equate to dollars in the bank, because we know that Jay-Z makes bank, particularly if you stack him up against Dave Chappelle. So I'm not sure if Twitter is the best way to determine whether or not Monique should be getting more money. I have Brunero on the phone. Welcome to the show.
Hello, how you doing?
How are you? And I was told that you're a new caller?
Brand new.
Welcome to the family.
I like to uplift my daughter.
Yes.
Her name is Artina Spool.
Oh, okay. I'm writing that down. That's a pretty name.
Thank you. She has a nonprofit organization in Baltimore City. She's the director of Charm City Lacrosse.
Oh, okay. I know that. Okay.
You know about that?
Yes, I do.
She helps a lot of young girls learn how to play lacrosse.
Right.
And from there, get scholarships to go to college. And she's helped a lot of people in Baltimore City go to college.
And we lift her up. Do you want to say anything about the Monique thing, or just chime in and just lift up your daughter, which I appreciate?
I don't want to say anything about Monique.
All right, sir. Thank you so much, folks. We want to get Troy in here. Troy, welcome to the show.
How you doing?
How you doing, sir? What do you think?
To be honest with you, I got a quick thought on it. The thought that I have is take that $5 million, get your face back out there, because out of mind, out of sight, right?
Yes.
And then there's a sister in D.C. that has something similar to Netflix called Quale TV, I believe.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's Kewil TV.
Uh-huh.
So why don't you take that money, sit down with her,
Right. Oh, yeah.
and invest in her company? This way, you could put people on yourself and make money that way.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And find another way to push it forward.
Right. Because you know what? No one's going to pay you your value, because at the end of the day, everybody believes that they're priceless. I'm not an actor or singer, but I believe that I'm priceless, right?
I completely agree. And it's always a sticky situation when someone wants to hire you to do something. You start thinking, I don't want to charge too much and charge them too much, and they don't come back to negotiate. I don't want to charge too little, because then I end up losing money. It is sticky.
Exactly. I mean, you know what? The only thing I can say I've ever done, which I didn't get credit for, is I wrote a song that sold, 3 million copies or something like that, but I didn't really get credit for it because, that things like that happen, right?
Right. No, I'm agreeing with you.
I can't complain about anything, but I found another way to make it work for me.
Now, let me ask you very quickly, is there a black woman you want to lift up before we chime off?
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Is there a black woman you want to lift up before we chime off?
Sure.
Yes.
Miss Christine Flowers, man. I have a lot of respect and passion for that lady. She really puts herself out there.
All right. Thank you so much, Troy. Folks, we're going to leave that topic here for now. We want you to continue to call in. We want to continue to lift up black women, which takes us right into the guest that we have. We have a former Maryland educator, Audri Scott Williams, black woman. She walked around the world for peace for 3 years, and she's now getting ready to run for Congress, and she's also one of the people instrumental in getting Doug Jones elected. Hello, Ms. Scott Williams. Welcome to Today with Dr. Kaye.
Hello, Dr. Kaye. It's an honor and pleasure to be on your show today.
And I'm honored to have you. I want to be clear. You are the progressive Democratic candidate for Congress in 2018 for Alabama in District 2.
That's right. So we want to have the same energy going forward for 2018 that we had with Doug Jones.
Now, what do you think was the real piece that helped Doug Jones get elected? Was it just black women getting out to the polls? Was it because of what Trump was doing? Was it in opposition to that candidate? And so all the pieces lined up? Like, what is that tipped the scales?
Yeah, I think the last thing you said about everything lining up, some have called it a perfect storm. He was running against a candidate that people were just not willing to have represent us. Roy Moore had not only did he come into the whole Me Too accusations for what he had done, but he also made a statement during his campaign about when asked, when was America at its best? And he mentioned the statement about slavery. And so that right there set off a reaction that was very negative towards him. He just did not deserve to represent Alabama. And so that was one aspect. I think the other aspect, Doug Jones is known for having prosecuted the KKK men who bombed the 16th Street Baptist Church. And then I think the other thing, Dr. Kaye, that we're seeing happen, not just in Alabama, but all over the country, women are really showing up to make a change and make a statement. So the black women who voted at 98% for Doug Jones.
Huge. That's huge.
Unheard of.
Right.
But, we can't understate either. The black men voted at 93%. So I got to give it up that we had a strong concerted effort to get the black vote out, and it made a huge difference in the outcome for Doug Jones. Now, I don't know if you've heard the news in the last couple of days. The Senate of the state of Alabama just sent a bill on to the House where there'll be no more special elections. Now, how about that?
Yeah, but there's always a response. Now, folks, if you just joined us, this is Today with Dr. Kaye. We're talking to Audri Scott Williams. She's a progressive Democratic candidate for Congress. We're still lifting up black women. And just note that at the half, 4:30, when we come back, we're going to have some critics on who are going to break down that Monique situation anymore. Some of you are chomping at the bits. We're coming back to Monique. No worries. So Ms. Scott Williams, now this is the first time in 3 years that Alabama has had a Democratic senator. Do you think that the state is starting to shift, or as we just noted, it was just kind of a perfect storm of things coming together to make this possible?
Well, let me be clear now. Doug Jones was the first Democratic congressional senator in 3 decades.
3 decades, thank you.
In 3 decades. So, yes, it was the perfect storm that I think a lot of things came together that allowed him, the community, and then a lot of money came into Alabama in the last few weeks of the election that allowed resources to go out to pay people to get out into the community and do the get out to vote. That was quite significant, and then fun to get people to the polls. So everything came together that allowed Doug Jones to win that. I think that what we are looking forward to in 2018, again, keeping that energy and momentum going. If I win our district, I will be the first African-American woman in District 2 of Alabama ever to be voted into a congressional seat, and the only second African-American candidate to win that seat. And the last person was at the end of the 1800s during Reconstruction.
Now, we have a clip from the Doug Jones victory. Why don't we take a listen to it, and then we'll come back and talk about it.
We have shown not just around the state of Alabama, but we have shown the country the way that we can be unified. This campaign has never been about me. It's never been about Roy Moore. It has been about every one of you and your sons and daughters. At the end of the day, this entire race has been about dignity and respect.
So this entire race has been about dignity and respect. And so that's what helped to shift it. I would add to that, Ms. Scott Williams, it's also been about black people, black women and black men getting to the polls and recognizing the power in their vote. I think that's a tide that's shifting. What do you think is really the strategy for getting people to remain actively involved in this process? Like, we're riding all these waves, mostly in opposition to Donald Trump, right? In opposition to the candidate that was running against Doug Jones. And I don't even want to talk about that gentleman and what came out about him. But how do we get people to stay engaged for the long haul?
And that is the question. And one of the things that we're doing in our campaign, because I've walked across this country several times and led a walk around the world over the last 17 years, we've done a lot of that. I'm very grassroots oriented, and I think throughout our states and women running for office and black women and men, we have to be concerned about knowing what the issues are that we confront. I think we have to rethink how do we mobilize around issues and solutions, not just around a specific candidate. So I think that one of the things we're doing in Alabama is organizing the black groups, political groups, and community-based organizations to say, what is the black agenda that we really need to be concerned about, and how do we hold politicians accountable for that? So I think we need to go deeper than just the candidate now. We've got to get organized. We have a lot of issues. I know in Alabama we're fifth in the nation in terms of the percentage of men who are incarcerated, or prisoners, period, incarcerated. And so that gives us number 5th in the nation for a state that's always at the bottom of everything else. So we have to think about how the economic development use of the whole prison industrial complex is affecting not just those that are incarcerated, but families and children. And we have to look at also jobs. That's we've been all over the state, our district, And the number one thing that people are saying, we need jobs that pay livable wages, have benefits, and that can create the income and wealth where people can build a career and have a home. So those are just a couple of things that I mentioned. But, we're also impacted by rural health and all of those. So we've got to get, as a group, we need to learn more about what's happening in our communities and how do we mobilize to affect long-term change.
Now, you I just want to be clear and have you talk about this. You've walked around the United States twice, and you've walked around the world once. Can you talk about that, please?
Of course. I started walking in the year 2000 was my first walk, and we walked from Pennsylvania to Georgia in the footsteps of our ancestors who escaped slavery through the Underground Railroad and then through the Trail of Tears. And then 2 years later, we went to Africa. We walked the path from the forest in Ghana to the door of no return. And just what we wanted to do was just pray for our ancestors.
Right.
And then the next walk, we said, well, gosh, there's so much happening around the world. Let's put ourselves in a position of walking around the world. We had no money. I had my mom with me, who was in the final stages of Alzheimer's in a wheelchair, my partner Karen, and about 6 or 7 other walkers. And we just set out. And we knew that the testimony of our effort to discovering the beloved community, discovering that we do have community that will take care of you no matter where you go, our journey was a testament of my passion for peace and justice, for environmental justice as well. So it took us 3.5 years, and we did it.
Now,
and it wasn't always easy.
Okay, yeah, because I do. I'm sure there are 1,000 questions that people have. 419-8888. So when you talk about walking around the world, just help me to understand it, because at some point, right, you hit water. So do you walk to a certain point and then you fly to another country? Like, this sounds like it would cost thousands upon thousands of dollars to actually walk around the world.
It does. It costs. It's a lot of energy in terms of raising money constantly. But we depended on families. When we had to fly across. When we left, we walked across the U.S. and then we went on to down the South Pacific and down into New Zealand and Australia. Spent time with Aboriginal communities there, and then to India and Africa, Northern Africa, and on around. And it takes money. It takes a lot of resources. And people say, how do you do it?
Right.
Quite frankly, Dr. Kaye, it was our passion and our for what we were doing was our currency. Because it was the impossible journey. It should not have happened. But we did have to fly. But I always, jokingly say we took trains, we took ox carts, we took boats, we took airplanes.
Took everything.
So we did it all, And I'll say when you take on a journey like that, you're surrendering yourself to something that's really more than what you understand. So sometimes, we were just placed in positions. We were caught in a shootout on the border in Mexico and the U.S. We arrived in India when the Taj was being bombed.
We need the book, Miss. We need the book.
You get it all.
We need to get the book.
And my mom, I have to say this, and Dr. Kaye, calling out a black woman, I have to call my mom, Audri Scott Williams, because she was in a wheelchair and had Alzheimer's, and she was so present. And all of us have these grandmas, and they work their magic, and she worked her magic in her own way.
Thank you so much. I'm going to have to stop you there. I'm so glad you were able to call out your mom. This was Audri Scott Williams. She's a progressive Democratic candidate for Congress in 2018 for Alabama District 2. Go online, grab her op-ed commentary about Doug Jones. How the victory is enormous, but much change is still needed in Alabama. Miss Scott Williams, thank you for joining us.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr.
Yes. When we come back, Oscars so white. Are they still so white? Are they more diverse? We got some critics here to talk about that and to talk about Monique. This is Today with Dr. Kaye. I'm Dr. Kaye Wise Whitehead. Keep it here. welcome back to Today with Dr. Kaye. I'm Dr. Kaye Whitehead. Folks, we are rolling through here on a Friday afternoon. I asked you at the beginning of the show, with everything that's been happening this week, let's come together for a couple of hours and let's have a conversation that matters. We talked about Monique, and when we switched the topic, people started going crazy. They wanted more of Monique. No worries. We're coming back to talk about Monique, but we have some critics on to help us kind of break it down and understand it, and we're still lifting up Black women. So I want to start by lifting up both my grandmothers, my maternal and paternal grandmother, Dorothy Bamberg and Marie Anderson, Black women whose shoulders I stand very tall because they did so as well. I have joining me by phone Civ Jones. She's a cultural analyst. Hello, Civ. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Dr. Kaye. And yes, I love the topic, bigging up Black women, because we need all of it.
Yes,
so big
we
up
do.
to all of my sisters, my mother, and all the women that I work with at Keys Empowers, and all the social worker women, and all the therapists. Can we big up the therapists?
There we go. Let's big up the therapists. We need to big up the therapists. So CivyCiv is back. We also have Phinesse Demps. He's a former writer of the Baltimore Time, founder of Indie Soul magazine. Phinesse, as always, welcome back to the show, sir.
It's always ladies first, in
There you go.
the words of Queen Latifah and Moni Love.
There we go. And, of course, my man is back, Dr. Zebulon Molesky. Dr. Zeb is what I call him. He's an associate professor at Stony Brook University in Africana Studies. Dr. Zeb, thanks for stepping in, sir.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
Always. Now, do you want to lift up a Black woman before we get started, Dr. Zeb?
I sure do. I want to lift up my own mother.
Here we go.
Veronica Molesky, and also my grandmother, who was passed, no longer with us, Winifred Constance Deere.
Let's lift them up. We need to lift up Black women. So, Phinesse, I'm coming to you first about this Monique situation. I laid that out there to my guests, to my listeners. Half the folks supported her. Half the folks did not. What's your take on it? And also, they told me that you spoke to Netflix. Like, give us the other side of this thing here.
All right. So I had to speak to my people in Netflix, who they've been a big supporter of the Indie Soul magazine movement. And here's what basically they broke it down to me. First of all, Monique does not fall into the category of an A-list comedian.
Ooh, okay.
All right. There's no disrespect, but that's the truth.
That's the deal. Okay.
All right. So that's that. Secondly, her comedy special, Cell Block, which was on another platform, and then Netflix picked it up, was not doing well. And so it comes over to Netflix, and Netflix can look at the numbers. Now, they don't reveal the numbers, so I didn't get the numbers.
Right.
But when they look at stuff, they can say, okay, what are the numbers you are bringing in?
Mm.
So it wasn't a slight to her. My whole thing is, they offered you $500,000. There are people out here who are struggling for real, and you tripping about $500,000. What she should have did was take the $500,000, do a show, and if it pops off, then you're able to do more.
Right.
Keep in mind, there are tons of comedians on that platform. Dion Cole, so many other.
Oh, so it wasn't just by herself. It was with a number of comedians?
Yeah.
Okay.
So she's not. So you got other comedians that they too probably got offered less than what she was offered. I also found out this: for a half-hour special, Netflix only pays $26,000. They don't care who it is.
Oh, so she was getting $500,000. Sib, let me bring you into it. So Monique, of course, she decided not to take the money, but Monique went in a different direction. Girlfriend took it to Instagram and Twitter, and she's calling on folks to boycott Netflix. Let's be clear, folks. Netflix is the Amazon when it comes to hanging out and watching streaming shows. They're stomping over everybody.
Right.
So is the boycott realistic, or is it just a tactic to try to get more money?
It's definitely not realistic, and I do believe that it is a tactic to get more money. However, I don't think we I think that as Black folks, when one of us has a gripe with a company that we feel like is doing us wrong, I don't think as Black folks we need to argue their case on why they are doing us wrong. I feel like, when Monique came out, and of course, she did the whole boycott thing. I think she should have held her boycott card. There's other things that we should be boycotting other than Netflix. Like, you can't throw that. It's like a racial card. You got to know when to use it. And at that instant, Monique, that was the bad time to use it. But I understand your gripe, sister, and I understand the fact that she wants to be paid more money. I mean, I think we all know that we do really good work, and that sometimes we're not paid what we feel is our worth. And I don't think there was anything wrong with Monique going after saying, being upset that she wasn't paid with her worth, but it's the way that she did it, the way that she delivered it. It's like when you deliver something on a mass level where the mass has to judge you, then you have to take what the mass is doing. And unfortunately, most of the mass went against her. You know what I'm saying? So you put yourself out there for judgment, where she could probably, maybe did a backdoor deal like Wanda Sykes,
Right. She just went to another place. Yeah.
Right. Went to another, and we didn't know what was going on with Wanda. And Wanda didn't let the public know what was going on with her and Netflix until this Monique situation. So now you have to look at it like, oh, okay, well, maybe Wanda Sykes makes more sense to me than a Monique. Because Monique has done this, She has done, she wanted us to boycott Tyler Perry and Oprah. And
right.
Monique,
ain't nobody boycotting Oprah. Nobody's boycotting Oprah. They're trying to get her run for president. Nobody's boycotting Oprah.
And nobody's boycotting Netflix on the behalf of you, Monique. Unfortunately, sir, you have played that card too much. Now you look like a joke. And you look like the joke. Right. So, but I support the sister and what she's doing, and I do hope that one day that she can bounce back, because I am a Monique fan, and I do believe that her comedy is relevant, and I do want to hear her story, but she just has to find a better way to present it.
Now, Dr. Zeb, I want to actually switch the topic with you, because I want to talk about Oscar So White. Now, we are finding this year that they're not as white as they used to be. I mean, the Oscars are not so diverse, but they're not as white as they used to be. Get Out, which we have talked about on this show before, is, of course, kind of powering through. Do you think Jordan Peele should receive the Oscar for Best Director?
I mean, he's been humble. He's been gracious. I mean, what a contrast compared to what was just being discussed with regard to Sister Monique. I mean, that's the kind of thing that, and I think it's genuine. I don't think he's, drumming it up, and politics play a role in it. So he may just do it. Invented a new genre in some ways and broke all kinds of barriers. It's a movie that it was one of those things where you heard it from somebody and you heard it from somebody else, and then you just had to go see it, and then you saw it again. I mean, so it would be very exciting. What an interesting contrast to last year with Oscar So White, and then the context of this year politically, to have that film, be featured. I think it's a cliche. People say it's an honor just to be nominated, but I think in this case it is an honor to be nominated, and in so many categories. And it just might win.
Now, let me ask you, Phinesse, because Phinesse, you and I talked about this on the show on Monday. We were talking about Daniel Kaluuya with the SAG Awards. Daniel Kaluuya is now up. The dude is running through. He's up for an Oscar, Phinesse. Now, he's not winning everything, but he's up for an Oscar for Get Out. I'm not talking about Jordan Peele's brilliant directing. I'm talking about Daniel Kaluuya's acting. Kaluuya, do you think he should get the Oscar for acting, Phinesse?
I think he's going to get it because
really?
Yeah, because I don't believe they're going to give it the award to Jordan Peele, and that's because when you talk to people on the inside and they say how they vote, and it's not fair from when I'm talking to them how they vote. He's a first timer, not this time around, maybe next time around. This is the kind of conversation that you're like, are you serious? This is how you guys do stuff? So I don't think he will win.
I can't believe you said that you think that Daniel Kaluuya, I want to make sure I'm pronouncing his name correctly, this British actor who was in Get Out, you think he actually might beat out Daniel Day-Lewis from Phantom Thread, Gary Oldman from Darkest Hour, Denzel Washington, by the way, his 8th nomination more than any black actor, Timothée Chalamet from Call Me By Your Name, that it's going to be the guy from Get Out?
I think it will be just to appease the Jordan Peele and the black crowd. Now, mind you, I've been right. I've been telling y'all all along that Get Out wasn't going to win. And I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but you be around these folks and you talk to these folks and you see how it works.
Right.
It is political, but the whole system has to be changed. All the award shows, all of them, including the NAACP Image Award, they all have to be overhauled.
Well, let me ask you. I'm coming back to you, Civ Jones.
Okay.
Because I don't even know if I'm just taking Phinesse off the table right now. Right. but I'm thinking about Mary J. Blige and Octavia Spencer as the idea of actress in a supporting role. Mm-hmm. So I mean, will Mary J. Blige? I mean, she was beat by Allison Janney, by the way, in I, Tonya for SAG.
I think Octavia might get this one.
Really?
Over
Okay.
Mary.
Okay.
Mary, I think, because, can we just give a claps and a thumbs up for Mary J. Blige? Who would have thought that Mary J. Blige
I know.
would be up for an Oscar for her acting? Not for her singing, but for acting.
Wow.
Mary J. Blige has been trying to be an actress
Forever.
for a long time, and we always Mary, I don't know
Look
about
at her
that
now.
one.
Look at her now.
And look at her now.
Wow.
And look at her now from coming from her divorce with Kendu.
Yes.
Kendu ain't going to have no type of chance to get any
Wasn't he
money
trying to get
off
like
of Mary's
$25,000 a month off of her or something? Yeah.
He can't. Mary did this without him. Mary J. Blige deserves all the accolades. I don't think that she's going to get the Oscar. I think Octavia Spencer is going to get the Oscar because Octavia has been up for, again, it's like one of those Denzel things. Octavia has been she's been nominated, if I'm not, for several awards. I think they're going to give it to Octavia, and especially since The Shape of Water has won so many awards already in the award season, I think it's Octavia Spencer's time.
So do you think, now I'm just going to ask you because I have to say, and it hurts my heart, Phinesse is saying no on Jordan Peele for directing. He'll probably get it for screenplay, but yes on Daniel Kaluuya for actor.
Phinesse, you're my brother.
Come
in
on.
this. But I'm going to have to go with Jordan Peele on his directing abilities because I think that with Daniel, I think he has some more.
Some more something.
From him.
Some more something.
We need to see more from him. Like, the acting was good, but how many actors could play that role? Several.
Come on, yeah.
Now, with Jordan, just the way his mind worked to even bring this screenplay about, it was a total mind shift. And I believe the doctor said it before. It's a new genre that he's making that we haven't seen before from white or black directors. And I think that it's like a comedy sci-fi horror film in real life, based in conspiracy. I have to give it to Jordan on this one. I think that the screenplay was definitely very creative. It was definitely very mind-blowing and it was thought-provoking. So I'm going to have to go with Jordan on this one.
I think I am too. I'm going to get Alvin. We have a call in here. And we'll get to Alvin. And then, folks, we got to talk about the fact that Kobe Bryant is up for an Oscar as well.
Okay,
Alvin,
I saw that.
We got to talk about that. Alvin, welcome to the show. How you doing, sir?
Fine, Dr. Kaye. What an excellent idea to have a day to uplift women. I hope you do this more often with not just women, but everybody in our community, as many people as you can.
Thank you.
Excellent idea. I just wanted to comment on the comedian from Baltimore, her
Monique.
situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Monique. I think her problem is management. I would think that her manager should have probably did a much better job in preparing her.
Now, her manager is her husband. You know it's her husband.
Yep. Well, it's a manager, okay? Certain things he should know in business. And I think the answer to her problem has been spelled out by most of the callers, what she can do to turn things around. Because she is a good comedian, I just think she needs more parent exposure, okay? And she'll get the money.
You think so?
I would like to uplift a few women.
Please do.
One woman I met just before Christmas, she happens to live in Randallstown, and she's 108 years old.
Wow.
And her name is Esther Hill.
Esther Hill.
And, of course, my aunt, who turned 98 last week, who raised 8 children by herself. Her husband died early and turned out a beautiful, beautiful family. Today it's around 90 descendants as a result of that, and very productive. And I'd also like to uplift my daughters, Jamila, Asa, and Usa, and they've done really well, and it's really made me proud. They have an organization, the twins have an organization called Vocal Point Global, where they help youth from all Africa and the U.S., and they've been just the light of my life.
Thank you so much, Alvin, for checking in. Folks, we're lifting up Black women. This is the day to do that. And we're also talking about the Oscars, which was hashtag Oscars so white, maybe not so white anymore. I think it's still white, just not so white. Dr. Zeb, so Kobe Bryant is up for an Oscar for the animated short film Dear Basketball, which is based upon a poem that he wrote about his life. Like, I was actually kind of excited to see Kobe Bryant thrown in there.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of was too. I don't know, so many thoughts. I mean, what we may be witnessing is some of the changes that happened as a result of the Oscars so white pushback last year. I mean, they told us that there was going to be more diversity. They told us they're going to work on it. I don't, have a sense of how it all breaks down on that side, like say Phinesse and other folks who are in touch with people out on the coast, but maybe that's what we're seeing. And in this time period where sports, the NBA, the I Can't Breathe, what they set off, and now the NFL with the kneeling a little bit more recently. I mean, I kind of like it. I kind of like having to, I'm surprised. You know what I mean?
Let's be clear.
I knew the brother was talented,
but
my goodness. But it doesn't define a person. There's been triple threats. There's people who are lovely on the field in the court, and then also have a brain. You know what I'm saying? They wrote something. So
this is very different, right?
I'm glad to see him nominated. I haven't had a chance to check it out close up.
I haven't even seen it. I haven't seen it, but I do. I mean, an animated film, I want to see it. Now, I want to come back to you, Phinesse, and I want to go to to Civ. So, even though we're all supporting Jordan Peele, and there's a part of me as a Black person that is supporting Jordan Peele, and Civ, I'm going to come to you instead. Civ, as a woman, I'm actually kind of supporting Greta Gerwig because she was nominated for her directorial debut for Lady Bird. She was passed over by the Golden Globes, but she's only the 5th woman in the Oscars' 90-year history to be nominated for the directing Oscar. If she wins, she'll only be the 2nd woman ever to win this award. So the part of me as a woman is kind of supporting this here, right? What do you think, Sid?
And that's the thing as being a Black woman. We have double. One, we're Black, one, we're women, right. And so, but like my girl Issa Rae say, I'm voting for everybody that's Black.
But can we vote for everybody that's woman, too? That it's a woman? Come on now, Sid.
I know, but, it is hard. But in truth be honest, I haven't even seen Lady Bird. Right. So I can't even, I can't just cast a vote because she's a woman. I haven't seen Lady Bird.
But I haven't seen a lot of black people in these roles, and I'm saying, you know what, Octavia, I haven't seen The Shape of Woman, Shape of Water, but she's Black, so I'm just going to go ahead and support her because I'm supporting all things Black.
That's true. Absolutely true. If the woman, it would be good for women. It would be good for both of us, all of us, Black women in general. If the woman wins, yay. If the Black man wins, yay.
Just not white men again, right? Just not white men again.
And not even that, but it's like, did Lady Bird have any African Americans in her movies?
Uh-oh. Okay, Sid. That's what I'm saying. We started the show with saying, hey, we're the white women who are going to ride and die with Black women.
When's the last time a white director put a Black woman in a leading role?
Yep, and that's another can of worms. Let me get Kenneth. I have Kenneth on the line. Kenneth, welcome to the show.
I'm so sorry.
How you doing, Kenneth?
I'm so sorry. Now, you know good and well I love my Black women. I come from a family of 6 sisters, and my mother raised all of us by herself.
Okay. Yeah, because I cut you off earlier, Kenneth, because you couldn't think of one Black woman to lift up. So I was like, no, he's got to go.
That one? Oh, Lord.
occupied. I was preoccupied because I was at the supermarket. And I didn't want to say anything corny, and I didn't want to say anything that took too long, you know.
Okay, well, quickly give me your black woman to lift up, Kenneth, because I'm getting upset with you now. Come on.
No, don't do that. No, I mean, it's just nothing, a whole lot I can, you know, it's too many words that I could say, and you don't have enough time, you know. Maybe I'll write a poem about, but I love black women. I love them. I love them.
Thank you so much, Kenneth. We love black women too, and we're lifting them up. Kenneth, I'm glad you called back. Write your poem, my man. You write your poem. You know, we'll put it on the air. So, Phinesse.
Yes.
Here we are. They're saying that Oscars go white. Not anymore. That now Oscars is being diverse. Do you think with all with the few black folks that are nominated, do you think we're going to see more than one or two black people walk home with that award in their hand?
I want to say yes.
Okay.
Because I'm truly for the art form.
Okay.
I've seen a good 80% of these films. I've seen Octavia Spencer, who is long overdue for an award. And there was a white woman, I forgot her name, that fought for Octavia to get paid.
Yes, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
So when you have people who get it and they push for it with you, I like that. Lady Bird was a great movie.
Were there any black people in it? That was Civ's question, right, Civ?
I believe they were, but not in a nominating role.
Oh, come on now.
You know what? I think the girl that played on How to Get Away with, Orange is the New Black.
She was in it. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I agree, you know, I'm like that, you know, I want to see black folks win, but I'm also for the art form, and I want to see changes.
Right.
I don't want to see it, okay, last year was, you know, Oscars so white. So then you change it at the award ceremony. You could tell that you only changed it just because you didn't want anybody to talk about it.
Right.
This year, it's all about women. So now you look at the nominations. I'm looking at this. Some of y'all shouldn't have been nominated. I don't care if it's black or white. Let's get to the art form. Let's redo all the award shows. Come up with the right rules and strategy and how we're going to nominate. Again, I think that people have to watch at least 5 of each film or show in the category, and you shouldn't be voting on because I like this person.
Well, let me throw this out. Now,
I think they're older, and that's what they're doing.
Well, let me throw this out to you, Phinesse, and have you comment on this before we're going to go around to all of you and get your Best Picture nomination before we wrap up. Denzel Washington, they're saying that surprise nomination may have something to do with the absence of James Franco, because remember, he was accused by 5 women of sexually inappropriate behavior. There was a spot there. Nobody thought Denzel did Oscar-worthy work in Roman Israel.
Mm-hmm.
So Phinesse, I mean, it was a good film, but is it Oscar worthy? But you know what, though? I can't ask Phinesse because Phinesse thinks Daniel Kaluuya was Oscar worthy in Get Out. So folks,
no, I didn't say that. I said that they're going to give it to him because of Get Out.
My producer Iori saying that, you know, this year is about black people, so Oscar's not so white. Golden Globes about women because of Me Too. The next year she thinks it's going to be about LGBTQ issues because that's going to be in the forefront because they try to follow what the trend is. So what? In the last couple of seconds we have left, I want to go to each one of you. Tell me your nomination for the Best Picture. Which one do you think? It's Call Me By Your Name, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Get Out, Lady Bird, Phantom Thread, The Post, The Shape of Water, and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Phinesse?
It's going to be 3 Billboards outside
3 Billboards.
Missouri.
Okay, because I'm going to have you back once we have it. Civ?
I'm going to say Get Out.
Get Out. I know that's right, Civ. Stay strong, sister. And Dr. Zeb?
I'm going with Get Out. Jordan Peele is a genius.
You're going with Get Out. Okay. Well, I think that is wonderful. I'm going to nominate the Day with Dr. Kaye show. You know, I'm going to vote for that. So, Phinesse Demps, I want to thank you so much for joining us again this week. Former writer of the Baltimore Time and founder of Indie Soul Magazine. CivyCiv, thanks for coming back. She's a cultural analyst. And then, of course, Dr. Zeb Molesky, Associate Professor, Stony Brook University, Africana Studies. We're going to have all 3 of you back after the Oscars, and let's break it down again.
All right, and don't forget the Grammys is this weekend as well.
Let's take a look at that. So, folks, we're going to leave it here. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for sharing your drive time with me. Thank you for lifting up Black women today. Today with Dr. Kaye is a production of WEAA. The show is produced by Ayore Odigizua. Our board operators are Andre Melton and Mikel Ramos. That's Dr. Dre. Stay tuned, because up next is For the Culture with Faraji. Remember that here on Today with Dr. Kaye, your voice matters. Your opinion matters. We tell stories that matter. We are here for you. We are listening, because if it has your ear, then it has our attention. Right here on Public Radio, WEAA 88.9 FM, absolutely the voice of the community. Make an appointment. Meet me back here at 3 p.m. on Monday. Enjoy your weekend. Keep it here for a final update from MTA.
Good evening from the MTA. We have on 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 from the MTA. We